Okay, welcome. I'm Helen. I'm the programme leader for the BA Primary Education. It's a fast route into teaching, 3 years, and you've got your own class. So I'm going to talk for about 20 minutes on what the programme looks like, and give you a good 5-10 minutes at the end of it to ask any questions. But of course, we've got plenty of chat time in the Unibuddy space with a tutor who works on the same programme. So what we're just going to have a little look at, and I really need you to think carefully about why you want to teach. This is a vocational course. Once you've decided that you're going to join us for the 3 years, we need to know that this is the right job for you. So get into school as much as you can, try and make sure it's the right choice. Lots of reasons why you would want to teach, best job in the world. We're all ex-primary school teachers on this course, and it's a tough job, so you have to think carefully whether it is for you. So making a difference to children's lives, a key idea that most of our applicants would like to tell us at interview, and that's the reason they want to teach, but there's some other reasons why people choose to teach. You can see that good holidays comes quite low down in the reasons why, because I think when we get into teaching we realise that we need those holidays. It's very exhausting during term time, but the holidays do come round and you do get good lengthy holidays when you teach. So here's some of our teachers, ex-students who are now teachers, some of them head teachers, all talking about their reasons for teaching. And of course, this is the reason for teaching. These are children who every year you'll get a new class, get to know them well, get to know their parents, get to know their siblings, get to know their lives. They will become very much part of you. So this question here asks you to think about that teacher that you remember when you were at school, and the one that brings a smile to your face. Think about that teacher. What were the qualities of that teacher? And those are the sort of qualities that will be helping you develop over the 3 years with us. So let's look at the programme in more detail. This is where you're going to be thinking about where to study, look at other programmes. All our programmes across the UK look fairly similar for the 3-year undergraduate programme. You'll get 3 placements in school. That's fairly common across all of them. What I want you to think about is, when are those placements happening? So here's the degree, the title, BA Honours Primary Education with Qualified Teacher Status. So it's a 3-year degree, and then with the Qualified Teacher Status, which is normally a 1-year postgraduate certificate, we've built that into the 3-year degree. So it's a busy degree, but you teach within 3 years. Good stats from Middlesex University. Proud of all our statistics. 97% of our students are satisfied with the programme. 100% of them gained a very good student qualification in teaching, coming out as outstanding trainee teachers, and 100% of them got jobs. That's out of the students that wanted to take on. We had a couple who went off and travelled straight from university and then came back and did their NQT a year later. We're very proud of that final statistic. After 5 years of teaching, our employment figures from this university are very high in retention. That is this idea that teaching is a tough role, and we have a problem at the moment with teachers leaving the profession. But for some reason in Middlesex, we managed to create people who really do want to change children's lives and stick with the profession. So we're very proud of our retention figures in the profession.
Helen, just quickly, yeah. The sound is buffering a little bit. A couple of people in the chat are saying that they can't hear you really clearly.
Okay, let me...
I can hear you fine now.
Can you?
Seems fine. Yeah, it seems fine now.
Let me just turn anything else off that might be. Let me just see if I can improve it.
It seems fine now.
Okay.
I can hear you fairly clearly.
Okay. So please make sure people do let you know if they can't hear you. Okay, so the overview of the programme, you will learn to teach children between the ages of rising 5, that's reception age children, through to year 6, age 11, and you'll gain that qualified teacher status. This slide is very important. Have a look at this slide carefully. So year 1, that's if you start with us this September. Obviously, we are in times that are still unclear regarding how we will be able to teach, but we've certainly got lots of contingency plans if this term here ends up as a blended online and some direct teaching. But you'll be on campus with us until January. After January, you do more modules, but you start going into school 1 day a week, in order that by April, you start your full placement, an 8-week placement in a reception class in a primary school or an infant school. That 8-week placement, you'll be building up some direct teaching, whole class teaching, but that placement will be a lot of group work. We dip your toes, we don't throw you in at the deep end. In year 2, back on campus for that autumn term, but during that autumn term, you will do some time in school. You'll be going into school 1 day a week throughout some of that term in order that we prepare you for this placement after Christmas. That's your second placement, another 8-week placement, and that will be in Key Stage 1 or Key Stage 2. Then you come back to us for some modules and you have a nice long summer at the end of year 2. We recommend you go off and do some things that might involve working with children in order that when you come back in year 3, you are well prepared to go straight into school. This is important, this year 3 placement. This is your final placement. It takes the place of a dissertation. We don't have dissertations on this course. This is a module that will give you the credits a dissertation would normally give. Now this is a placement where you will see what happens right from the beginning of the year, because look at it, the following year you'll be the NQT going in with your own class. So it's very worthwhile having this placement at the beginning of your final year so you can see how a teacher develops the relationships with the parents and the children of a new class. And then you come back to us for your final modules, fantastic modules, because you bring a wealth of your own experience from the classroom into those modules. So that's the format of the degree over the 3 years. I want you to really think about that when you're looking at your choices. Where are those placements? If you can see those lighter shaded areas are showing that throughout the 3 years you would have seen every term of a primary school. So studying at Middlesex University, lots and lots of advantages of working on a modern campus with the facilities that suit a modern campus. Got an award-winning library, free printing, you get a free core text with every module that you study with us. And what you will find on our course, we use London as a resource. You'll be going to galleries, museums, places of worship. We use the Thames River, all as areas and places to study. Our belief is that children learn beyond the classroom, and we want you to be confident to teach children out of class, on school trips. That's where learning really happens. So the way that you will work with us is working, these are in normal circumstances, and we're very aware that that first term may be different this year. Students are taught generally in groups of about 25. You get to know each other. There are no huge lectures with hundreds of students. This is a small course with very close relationships with your peers and your tutors. You'll be working on campus some of the time will be off campus, some of the time you'll be in school, but generally your timetable is pretty full. But we look after you and make sure that there are a couple of days a week that you aren't expected to be with us, and those will be for independent study. So your sessions are typically 90 minutes long. You've got to be prepared that your timetable could be any time between 9 and 6. And then there's lots and lots of times in between the sessions that you spend with us to work with each other, and that is an expectation of ours. Primary school teaching is all about teamwork, working with others, and certainly we expect you to be doing that with your fellow students on campus. So the strategies that we will use: seminars, workshops, some big lectures. Some of our lectures we use, we join other programs. We take you to our local school for our PE courses, where you'll be practicing with real children in the PE halls. And then, of course, as I've mentioned, we take you out into London to use the resources that we have a wealth of in this city. We are very established. We've been teaching teachers in different guises for Middlesex University for the last 100 years in different forms. So we've got huge partnership across particularly North London and East London, but extensively across the whole of London now, with schools that have worked with us for many years. We've been providing teachers to London for a long time. So school-based training, SBT, that's your professional development course. That's some of it on campus, but most of it in school. Then you will be a teacher. So when you go into school, you'll be expected to be in school the same amount of time that the teachers are. You'll be expected to attend staff meetings, inset days, and as you're probably familiar, that teachers don't go home at 3:30, the children do, so you will be expected to be planning for your next day, preparing for your next day, and talking to your mentors in school. So make sure that during placement time you're going to be in school Monday to Friday, probably between those sort of times, 8:15 to 5. So 3 years gives us lots of time for you to get a very wide experience in schools. So you will definitely have a reception class placement in the early years. You will then get a Key Stage 1 placement and a Key Stage 2 placement. So by the time you leave, you'll have been in all of the primary phases. We also try and make sure that you're in 3 different schools. So your placement will be as varied as possible in different age groups and different schools. That's important to give you that breadth of experience. Very occasionally, you might go back to your first placement school, which means you will get 2 placement schools, but that final placement will be in a different key stage. So no exams on our course at all. We don't really believe in exams on this degree. So you will be assessed mostly through writing assignments, through presenting to us, through submitting portfolios, sample lesson plans. And of course, when you're in school, you'll be observed by your mentor and your university link tutor. So when you're in school, very supported by the mentor and your university link tutor, and observed in lessons in order to be assessed. So when I'm talking about mentor support, I want you to think about the level of support that we offer. This is second to none at Middlesex University. I have had the privilege of working in a few universities, and I find the support offered for our students, particularly in their academic development, really is absolutely to always going to make sure that you succeed. So we have pre-course materials. You start with us feeling already part of the community. We have a very full induction week. That's where you'll make your friends for life during that week. Lots of activities that we organise for the programme. Always accessible tutors. We're there for you. You get to know as well. We're all ex-primary school teachers, as I said, so you'll be able to talk to us about all the ups and downs that you might be experiencing in school. You have an academic tutor called a personal tutor. They will be looking after your academic development, making sure that you're able to access support for the targets that you've been given in your academic writing, but there'll also be someone that knows you very well and you'll be able to go to for other more pastoral reasons. We have a learning enhancement team who will be there to support you in the background regarding your academic progress. You can make appointments with them regularly, and our virtual learning environment, of course, is accessible at all time. We'll be holding a pre-induction day for our applicants who have been offered a place, and the pre-induction day is an ideal time for you all to meet and get to know each other, so that on that first day when you arrive on the programme, you've already got to know a few of your fellow students. Whilst you're in school, I mentioned you've got school mentors. They will be with you daily, observing you weekly, and your University Link tutor will come and visit you. They'll also be online in contact with you weekly, and you'll have your virtual learning environment whilst in school. So you're still very much part of us, even though you're working in school. So we've got some enrichment opportunities that may differ from other programmes that you're looking at across other ITE, initial teacher education providers. Our enrichment opportunities are offering you a specialism in maths or science or special educational needs. The special educational needs gives you a short 3-week placement in a special school. So if you're interested in working in the special school sector, there's a great opportunity for you there. However, a lot of our students who work in the mainstream sector really valued that 3-week placement as well. We also offer a final, an opportunity to study abroad. That is in your final year, in that spring term after you've done your autumn placement. We've currently got, I'm saying currently, we had a student studying in Perth, Australia. Sadly, she's had to fly home because of the current COVID issue, but she's continued to study online with the university in Perth. We've had students in California, in Istanbul, and all over Europe. So this is an interesting slide for you, especially if you come to interview with us, because you'll meet this slide again at interview. This slide, I'm going to give you a moment just to read. I'm not going to talk. So when I mentioned at the very start of this, what is it about that teacher that makes you smile? What sort of attributes does a primary school teacher have? There's a lot there, and this is what we work on to develop with you over the 3 years. So all of those attributes we would be hoping to develop in you over the time that you are with us. So just finally, for the last 2 minutes before I open up for questions, I just want to talk very briefly about the process for application. You need 112 UCAS points. You must have GCSE English, Maths and Science. If you haven't, there are equivalency tests that you can do. We expect that you have those minimum qualifications, but if you come to interview without them, we would set them as a condition that you achieve them before the start of the programme. You come and attend an interview. I shall mention that in a moment. This is a recommendation that we ask you to spend 10 days in a primary school. It's not a requirement, but we strongly advise it. We want you to really know that this is the job for you before you commit to the degree. So try and spend some time in a primary school. Schools are generally very open for volunteers. Okay, so you apply through UCAS. I'm sure you're starting to be familiar with that process. In your personal statement, those elements common to all personal statements, make sure that you're using a good standard of English, you're reflecting on your own school experiences, you're outlining some relevant experience with the age group. So if you've got any sort of experience with working with young children, make sure that goes into your personal statement, and explain why you want to teach. A little hint is not to tell us that you love children. We expect that you enjoy being with children. That comes as a given. What we want to hear from you is that you're really interested in how children learn. That's going to really tip you towards that idea that actually this is about how to teach and how children learn, rather than just, I want to be surrounded by lots of lovely children. That's the plus side, of course, that you will be amongst some fabulous children. But in your personal statement, try and keep it to that idea of why you want to teach. It's because you're interested in teaching. Okay, so your references, we need a reference from your school or college. If you studied a long time ago and you're coming to us as a mature student, you can use a current employer, but make sure that you're using someone who's employed you, or you've studied, or has been someone at a college that you've studied with, rather than a friend. So the interview, just finally, that's at the moment, of course, we're doing online interviews that are actually becoming very successful. We're getting better and better at being able to interview you online. So you will at the moment be calling in online for interview. We have a chat, we get you to read a poem to us that you'll have had some time to prepare. And then we send you a numeracy and literacy task to do. The task isn't a test, it's not whether you've passed or failed your interview, it merely is to give us some indication as to the type of support that you might need when you join us. Okay, so that's the final slide that I'll leave up for you. That has my name and my contact details on. I welcome any questions if things come to you after the end of this session or after today, when you've had a good look at the programme. But you're welcome to email me anytime. So, any questions? Let's have a look. So, pedagogy. That's a question. What does pedagogy mean, or pedagogies mean? Good question. Pedagogy means it's the art of teaching, or the skill of teaching. So what you're learning with us is how to teach. So what type of pedagogy, what type of teaching are we going to be supporting you to teach children? There's lots of different learning theories about how to teach and how children learn. You'll be learning about that. So pedagogy is the skill of teaching. Any other questions? Yeah, okay. So that went, this question regarding how are we going to get experience while schools are closed? This is absolutely a key question, and went through my head as I was saying, try and get some experience in schools. You're not going to be able to at the moment. Schools are obviously being very careful as to who walks through their doors at all at the moment. If you're applying to us for this September, we won't be expecting any experience in school, but we would hope that you've got some past experience of being with children in order that you've decided that you want to teach. But a very good question. We can't expect you to be getting into school before you start with us this September. If you're applying for September 2021, I'm hoping that there will be more opportunities for you to get into school. Would students have to find their own placements? No. Have I missed anything? Would students have to find, was there anything? Oh yeah, okay. So would students have to find their own placements? No, we have a placement office. They're very skilled at placing our students. They place social workers, nurses and teachers. So you won't be looking for your own school. If you go onto our pre-course website, you will see a frequently asked question around placements, but by all means email me and ask me for that and I can send that to you. Placements are, you are placed as close to your school, to your home address as possible, as long as your home address is in the vicinity of an area that a linked tutor can get to you. So if you live in the Isle of Wight, we won't be coming to visit you there. You'll have to have a school nearer to us. But generally anywhere in North London, out beyond the M25 even, we'll travel to come and visit you in school. So we will try and get to you a school near to your home. Will we be completing projects alongside working in the schools? Whilst you're in school, you concentrate on evidencing your teachers' standards. Now, if you Google teachers' standards, you'll find out what teachers' standards are. Those are what we assess you against. Whilst you're looking at teachers' standards, those are the sort of projects that you might be set by your mentor. So your mentor might say, okay, I want you to plan 3 science lessons on this topic, and I'm going to come in and observe you teach one of those. That would be the sort of project that would get set whilst you're in school. Whilst you're in school, you won't be set anything from the university regarding the modules that you do at the university. I'm on the autistic spectrum and due to my fine motor skills can't do PE. Are there any alternatives? Okay, so we would be making sure that any special needs are signposted to us in the application so that we can start putting contingency plans in for those sort of particular needs. We've currently got 2 students on the autism spectrum working with us. They have been able to take part in the PE modules, but we would have to look at those individual needs on a case-by-case basis. So what is the question about trips to London? On trips to London is mentioned. Is there any more that can come in from Jasmine regarding that? What sort of things would we be completing? Okay, so right in the start, at the beginning of the course, of course this depends on galleries being open in September this year, but we will take you to Tate Gallery. We run some tasks there where you're learning how you might work with children in an art gallery. We do a project on the River Thames where you look at the Thames River as a topic and think about the history, the geography, the mathematics, the stories that might be related to the river that we would develop with you. We take you to places of worship, you go to a synagogue, you go to the Hindu temple. We try and use London as much as we can because we're very firm believers in learning beyond the classroom. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. It's been really useful to have this opportunity to share what is a very, very successful programme with you. But as I said, there's my email address, h.farmery@mvx.ac.uk. You're welcome to ask me any further questions, but please do go back to UniBuddy, where you'll find Fiona answering questions for the rest of the open day.
Brilliant. Thanks, Helen.
Thank you.
Thanks.